Introduction: The myth of the accidental manager. It happens every day in every company in the world. Someone is a talented individual contributor, a great designer, a reliable engineer, a helpful coordinator. They are organized, they are dependable, and they are good at their job. And then, one day, they are rewarded with a promotion. They are suddenly given the title of project manager. There is no training. There is no manual. They are simply thrown into the deep end, expected to now lead complex projects, manage diverse teams, and be held accountable for delivering results on time and under budget. They become the accidental project manager. They are armed with nothing but a series of spreadsheets and a powerful, creeping sense of dread. You see this role, and you see a world of stressful meetings, complex Gantt charts, and the constant, thankless work of chasing people for status updates. You believe that project management is a bureaucratic, administrative chore, a necessary evil of the corporate world. This is a complete misunderstanding of the modern, professional project manager. Great project management is not administration. It is leadership. It is not about tracking tasks. It is about eliminating obstacles. A great project manager is not a bureaucrat. They're the architect of results. They're the single most important person on any team, the operational hub who transforms a chaotic collection of ideas and people into a high-performing engine that delivers value to the business. Welcome to From Zero to Manager. This is not a dense, theoretical textbook for a PMP certification exam. This is a practical, step-by-step roadmap for becoming a confident, effective, and highly hireable project manager. We will treat your career transition not as an accident, but as an architectural project. First, we will demolish the myth of the accidental manager and install the powerful project architect mindset. We will give you a jargon-free blueprint to the most important modern methodologies, like Agile and Scrum. Next, we will give you the tactical, hands-on playbooks for the entire project lifecycle, from creating a bulletproof project brief to running an efficient sprint and keeping all of your stakeholders perfectly aligned. Finally, we will show you how to build a portfolio, how to get the right certifications, and how to ace the interview to land your first high-paying project management role. It's time to stop seeing project management as a chore. It is the language of business results. The system is learnable. The path begins now. Part 1. The foundation, the architecture of project management. Case File 01. The architect's mindset. You are not a taskmaster. You are a project architect. Before you create your first project plan, we must perform the most critical identity shift of your new career. The number one reason that most project managers are ineffective and often disliked is that they are operating under the wrong identity. They are trying to be a taskmaster. A taskmaster is a human spreadsheet. Their world revolves around Gantt charts, to-do lists, and deadlines. They see their job as assigning tasks to people and then relentlessly checking in to make sure those tasks are completed. They're the status update police. They're focused on the work. Their primary question is, are you doing the task I assigned you? You are not here to be a taskmaster. You are here to be a project architect. This is a profound and non-negotiable distinction. A project architect's primary focus is not on the tasks. It is on the system. Their job is not to chase people for status updates. Their job is to design and build a frictionless operational system where the team can do their best work and the status of the project is effortlessly transparent. They are not a checker-inner. They are a blocker-remover. Their primary question is, what is getting in my team's way, and how can I eliminate it? This is a shift from managing the people to managing the process. The taskmaster says, is your task done yet? The architect asks, do you have everything you need to complete your task successfully? Is there anything blocking you? The taskmaster sees a missed deadline as a failure of the individual. The architect sees a missed deadline as a failure of the system. When you adopt the project architect mindset, you have three core functions. First, to create clarity. You translate the vague business goal into a clear, actionable plan. Second, to engineer communication. You design the system of meetings and updates that keeps the team aligned and stakeholders informed. And third, to be a servant leader. You are not the boss of the team. You are the servant of the team. Your job is to protect their focus and remove their obstacles. This is the mindset that separates the glorified administrator from the indispensable project leader. Case file 02. Deconstructing the jargon. A simple blueprint of Agile, Scrum, and Waterfall. You step into the world of project management, and you are immediately hit by a wall of intimidating jargon. People are talking about sprints, backlogs, waterfalls, and Scrum Masters. It can feel like an exclusive club with its own secret language. The architect knows that these are not just buzzwords. They are names for different architectural philosophies for how to run a project. Methodology 1. Waterfall. This is the traditional blueprint. The analogy is building a physical house. The waterfall methodology is a linear, sequential process. You must fully complete one phase of the project before you can move on to the next, just like you must finish the foundation before framing the walls. A typical waterfall project has distinct stages: requirements, design, implementation, testing, and deployment. It is highly structured and predictable, but it is incredibly slow and completely inflexible. In the world of software development, it is now largely considered an obsolete dinosaur. Methodology 2. Agile. This is the modern blueprint. The analogy is building a house out of Lego bricks. Agile is not a linear process. It is an iterative and incremental one. Instead of trying to build the entire perfect house at once, you will work in a series of short, fast cycles called sprints. At the end of each 2-week sprint, your goal is to deliver a small, functional, working piece of the final product. You're constantly building, testing, and adapting based on real-world feedback. It is incredibly fast, flexible, and adaptive to change. Scrum is a specific flavor of Agile. Agile is the overarching philosophy. Scrum is the most popular, specific framework for implementing Agile. It is a set of simple, clear rules and rituals for running your sprints. Key rituals include the sprint, the product backlog, the daily stand-up, and the sprint review. As a modern project manager, especially in the tech world, your primary operating system will be Agile, and your primary tactical framework will be Scrum. Case file 03. The Iron Triangle. The unbreakable law of scope, time, and cost. Every single project you will ever manage, from planning a birthday party to building a skyscraper, is governed by a single, unbreakable, and often brutal law of physics. This is the iron triangle of project management, also known as the triple constraint. The amateur project manager is either unaware of this law or believes they can somehow defy it. The architect knows this law is as real as gravity. They do not try to break it. They use it as their primary tool for managing expectations and for having honest, data-driven conversations. The iron triangle states that every project has 3 primary competing constraints. 1. Scope. This is the what. This is the work that needs to be done. It is the sum of all the features, functions, and requirements of the final product. 2. Time. This is the when. This is the project's deadline. 3. Cost. This is the how much. This is the project's budget, including money and the number of people on the team. The unbreakable law of the iron triangle is simple and absolute. You can only ever pick 2. The quality of the project is the area inside the triangle. If you try to change one side of the triangle, you must change at least one of the other sides, or the quality will suffer. For example, if a stakeholder says, "We need to add 3 more features," they're trying to increase the scope. The amateur says, "Okay, we'll try to fit it in." The architect says, "That's a fantastic idea. We can absolutely add those features." To do that, we have a choice. We can either push back the deadline by 2 weeks, which is increasing the time, or we can add 2 more engineers to the team, which is increasing the cost. Which of those 2 levers would you like to pull? The iron triangle is your single greatest tool for managing expectations. You're not the one saying no. The unbreakable law of project physics is. Your mastery of this simple concept is the foundation of your authority as a project manager. Case file 04. The project manager's toolbox. Mastering Asana, Jira, and essential PM software. You are the architect of results, but you cannot build a skyscraper with a hand-drawn sketch. You need professional-grade blueprints and a command center. In modern project management, your project management, or PM, software is your command center. The amateur project manager tries to run their projects using a chaotic mess of spreadsheets and email chains. This is a recipe for disaster. The architect knows that a centralized, visual, and collaborative PM tool is the non-negotiable single source of truth for their entire operation. This is the job-ready PM tech stack. To be hireable, you need to be fluent in the two main flavors of PM software. First is the business and creative tool, like Asana, Trello, or ClickUp. These tools are known for their user-friendly and visually appealing interfaces. They're often built around a Kanban board, a simple visual system of columns and cards that you can drag and drop. Marketing teams, creative agencies, and a huge number of small to medium-sized businesses use these tools. Second is the engineering and tech tool, Jira. Jira is the undisputed king of the software development world. It is significantly more powerful, complex, and often less pretty than Asana. It is a true engineering tool. Almost every professional software development team in the world runs on Jira. It is purpose-built to support the Scrum methodology. The architect's mindset is to be tool agnostic. The specific software is less important than your understanding of the underlying principles of creating a clear task, assigning an owner, and tracking its progress. Your real skill is your ability to take any of these tools and architect a clear, simple, and effective workflow. Your first hands-on mission is to sign up for a free account on both Asana and Jira. Create a simple, personal test project in each. By familiarizing yourself with the command centers of both the business and the technical worlds, you're building the practical, hireable skill set of a modern project manager. Part 2. The Project Initiation Protocol. Architecting for Success. Case File 05. The Project Brief Blueprint. The one-page document that prevents 90% of all problems. A new project begins. The stakeholders are excited. The team is ready to start building. The amateur project manager, eager to show momentum, makes a catastrophic error. They immediately start creating tasks. They have skipped the single most important and highest leverage step in the entire project lifecycle, defining the project. A project that begins in a state of ambiguity is destined to fail. The architect knows that the first and most critical deliverable is the project brief. This is a simple, concise, and powerful one-page document. It is the constitution for your project, the single source of truth. The time you spend architecting this document at the beginning will save you hundreds of hours of painful rework and confusion later on. The one-page project brief blueprint must be brutally concise. It must answer the 6 critical questions of any project. 1. The why. What is the business problem we are trying to solve? State this in a simple problem/solution format. For example, problem. Our current checkout process has a 50% cart abandonment rate. Goal. To redesign the process to reduce the abandonment rate to under 20%. 2. The what. What specifically are we building? And just as importantly, what are we not building? Use a simple bulleted list for what is in scope and what is out of scope. 3. The who. Who is involved in this project? Create a simple list of names and roles, including the project sponsor, the project manager, and the core team. 4. The when. What are the major milestones and the final deadline? Create a high-level, simplified timeline. 5. The how. How will we know if we have succeeded? List 2 to 3 clear, quantitative key performance indicators, or KPIs. The final step is the sign-off. This document is not a suggestion, it is a contract. You must circulate this one-page brief to all key stakeholders and get their explicit written approval. This document is now your shield. Case File 06, the Stakeholder Map, a system for managing expectations and communication. You have your project brief. You have a clear, shared definition of what you're building. Now, you must manage the most complex and unpredictable variable in any project, the people. Your project will have a diverse group of stakeholders, each with their own goals, fears, and definition of success. The amateur project manager makes a critical mistake. They try to communicate with all stakeholders in the same way. They send a single, generic weekly update email to everyone. The architect knows that effective communication is about delivering the right information to the right people at the right time in the right format. Before you build a communication plan, you must first build a stakeholder map. This is the power/interest grid blueprint. You will draw a simple 4-quadrant grid. The y-axis will be power/influence from low to high. The x-axis will be interest from low to high. You will now take every stakeholder and place them on this grid. Quadrant 1. High power, high interest. These are the key players. This is typically your project sponsor. Your communication strategy is to manage closely. You will have a weekly one-on-one with them. Quadrant 2. High power, low interest. These are the keep satisfied. These are often senior executives not directly involved. Their needs are to be reassured that the project is on track. You will provide them with a brief, high-level monthly email update. Quadrant 3. Low power, high interest. These are the keep informed. These are often the end users of your product. They want to feel heard. You can include them in a wider project update email and hold occasional demo sessions to gather their feedback. Quadrant 4. Low power, low interest. These are the monitor, people who are only tangentially related. They require minimal effort and no proactive communication. By architecting this stakeholder map, you have transformed your communication plan from a chaotic, one-size-fits-all approach into a sophisticated, multi-channel strategy. Case File 07. The Work Breakdown Structure, WBS, the art of deconstructing a mountain into pebbles. You have a project brief and have mapped your stakeholders. You have a clear, high-level vision, but the final deliverable still feels like a massive, intimidating mountain. You know the destination, but you cannot yet see the individual steps of the path. The amateur project manager makes a fatal estimation error. They try to estimate the timeline for the entire mountain. This is an act of pure guesswork. The architect knows that you cannot estimate a mountain. You can only estimate the time it takes to move a single, small pebble. Your next critical task is to create a work breakdown structure, or WBS. A WBS is a systematic, hierarchical deconstruction of your entire project. This is the decomposition blueprint. Level 1. The project. This is the mountain. It is the single main deliverable from your project brief. For example, redesign customer checkout flow. Level 2. The epics. These are the boulders. These are the major, high-level features of your project. You will break down your project into 3 to 5 major components. For example, user interface design, front-end development, back-end API development, and user acceptance testing. Level 3. The user stories. These are the rocks. You will break down each epic into a series of smaller, user-centric features. The formula for a user story is, as a type of user, I want some goals so that some reason. For the front-end development epic, a user story might be, as a customer, I want to see a clear, multi-step progress bar so that I know where I am in the checkout process. Level 4, the tasks. These are the pebbles. This is the final and most granular level. You will break down each user story into the specific technical tasks required to build it. These are the items that will go into your project management software. By completing this rigorous deconstruction, you have transformed a vague project into a clear, organized list of small, manageable tasks. You have created the backlog for your project. Case File 08, the Risk Register, a proactive protocol for identifying and mitigating threats. Your project is now perfectly defined. You have a clear brief, a detailed work breakdown structure, and a realistic timeline. It is at this exact moment of maximum optimism that the architect must become a pessimist. Every project, no matter how well planned, is a journey into an uncertain future. Unexpected problems are not a possibility. They are an inevitability. The amateur project manager operates on a hope and pray model. When a predictable problem arises, they are thrown into a state of chaotic, reactive firefighting. The architect is a professional paranoiac. Their job is not to hope for the best. Their job is to prepare for the worst. Before the project begins, they will facilitate a structured process to identify, assess, and plan for potential risks. This is the risk register. This is the pre-mortem blueprint. A post-mortem is what you do after a project has died. A pre-mortem is an exercise where you proactively imagine its death in order to prevent it. Step 1. The project is dead premise. You will gather your core project team for a 60-minute meeting. You will open with a simple premise. I have a crystal ball. I can tell you that 6 months from now, this project has failed completely. Our mission is to work together to write the history of why it failed. Step 2. The silent brainstorm. For the next 10 minutes, everyone will silently brainstorm and write down on sticky notes every single possible reason that could have caused the project to fail. Step 3. Categorize and cluster. You will go around the room and have each person share their reasons for failure. You will group the similar sticky notes together on a whiteboard. You will quickly see thematic clusters emerge, like technical risks, resource risks, and scope risks. Step 4. The probability and impact matrix. You will now create your formal risk register spreadsheet. For each risk, you will assess it on 2 scales from 1 to 5, probability and impact. You will then multiply these to get a risk score. Step 5. The mitigation plan. For your top 3 to 5 high-scoring risks, you will now, as a team, create a proactive mitigation plan. You will answer the question, what is the one thing we can do, starting today, to either reduce the probability of this risk happening or to reduce its impact if it does happen? Part 3. The execution engine driving the work. Case File 09. The Agile Sprint. A playbook for running a high-focus, 2-week work cycle. The initiation phase is complete. Your project is architected for success. You have your brief, your stakeholder map, your work breakdown structure, and your risk register. It is time to move from planning to execution. We will use the Scrum framework. The heart of the Scrum framework is the sprint. A sprint is a short, time-box period, typically 2 weeks, during which the team's one and only job is to take a small, committed chunk of work from the backlog and turn it into a tangible, finished piece of the final product. The sprint is a powerful architectural construct. It is a fortress against distraction. A 2-week sprint is a recurring, cyclical process with 4 key ceremonies or meetings. 1. The sprint planning meeting. This happens on the very first day of the sprint. The goal is to answer 2 questions. What can be delivered in this sprint, and how will we achieve that work? The development team discusses the high-priority items and decides how much work they can realistically commit to completing. They pull that set of tasks into a new sprint backlog. 2. The daily stand-up. This happens every single morning of the sprint. It is a quick 15-minute peer-to-peer alignment meeting. Each team member briefly answers 3 questions. What did I accomplish yesterday? What will I work on today? And are there any blockers in my way? Your primary job in this meeting is to listen for blockers and then immediately go and remove them. 3. The sprint review. This happens on the very last day of the sprint. The goal is to demonstrate the actual, working, finished product that the team has built. You will invite all your key stakeholders. This is a demo, not a presentation. 4. The sprint retrospective. This happens at the very end of the sprint, immediately after the review. It is a private meeting for the core project team only. The goal is not to talk about the product. It is to talk about the process. The team will answer 3 questions. What went well? What went wrong? And what is one thing we can improve in the next sprint? Then, the cycle begins again. This disciplined, 2-week rhythm is the engine of Agile development. Case File 10. The daily stand-up. The 15-minute meeting that keeps everyone aligned. Of all the ceremonies in the Agile Scrum framework, the daily stand-up is the most frequently misunderstood and poorly executed. The amateur project manager sees this meeting as a daily status report for them. They turn it into a 30-minute, round-robin monologue. The team members come to dread it as a daily chore. The architect knows a profound secret. The daily stand-up is not for the manager. It is a meeting for the team by the team. You are not the star of this meeting. You are a guest, a facilitator, and a servant. The purpose is not to report status. It is to create daily alignment and to identify blockers. These are the unbreakable laws of the stand-up. Law number 1. The time box is sacred. The meeting is 15 minutes. Maximum. It is your job to ruthlessly enforce this. Law number 2. You actually stand up. The physical act of standing keeps the energy high and naturally discourages long speeches. Law number 3. It happens at the same time every day. Consistency is what makes the ritual powerful. The structure is the simple 3-question framework. Each team member answers these questions, not to you, but as a public commitment to their peers. What did I accomplish yesterday to help the team meet the sprint goal? What will I do today to help the team meet the sprint goal? And are there any impediments or blockers in my way? In this meeting, your role is that of the Scrum Master. You have 2 jobs. Job 1 is to be the process police. You will enforce the time box. You will prevent problem solving. The stand-up is a problem-identifying meeting, not a problem-solving one. If a longer discussion is needed, you will say, "Let's take that offline after the stand-up." Job 2 is to be the blocker remover. This is your most important function. You will listen with intense focus for the answer to the 3rd question. After the 15-minute stand-up is over, your single highest priority task for the day is to go and remove any blocker that was mentioned. By doing this, you are proving to the team that you're not their boss. You're their shield. Case File 11. The burn-down chart. A simple visual tool for tracking progress and predicting delays. How is the sprint going? This is the question that every stakeholder will be asking. The amateur project manager answers this question with a vague, subjective feeling. I think we're in good shape. This is useless information. The architect does not deal in feelings. They deal in data. They must be able to present a clear, objective, and data-driven picture of the project's progress. The single most powerful tool for this is the burn-down chart. A burn-down chart is a simple, beautiful, and incredibly powerful line graph that tells a complete story in a single glance. It has 2 axes. The vertical y-axis represents the total amount of work that the team committed to. This is usually measured in story points or total hours. The horizontal x-axis represents the time in the sprint, typically measured in days. The chart has 2 lines. The first is the ideal line. This is a perfectly straight, diagonal line. It starts on day 1 at the total amount of work and ends on the final day at 0. It shows the ideal, steady pace the team would need to finish exactly on time. The second is the actual line. This line tracks the real amount of work remaining at the end of each day. As the team completes tasks, you subtract the points for those tasks from the remaining total and plot the new number. The relationship between these 2 lines is a powerful diagnostic tool. If the actual line is below the ideal line, your team is ahead of schedule. If it's tracking closely, your team is on track. If the actual line is above the ideal line, this is a warning signal. It is an early, data-driven indicator that your team is behind schedule. The burn-down chart's superpower is its ability to predict the future. If on day 3 of a 10-day sprint, you are behind, you have identified this problem early. You can now bring this data to the team and facilitate a problem-solving session to get back on track. Your project management tool, like Jira, will often generate this chart for you automatically. Your job is to make it visible. It replaces subjective feelings with objective data. Case File 12. The communication cadence. A system for keeping everyone informed without endless meetings. Your project is in motion. The sprint is underway. But new enemy now emerges, the status update meeting. Your stakeholders are anxious. They want to know what's going on. If you're not careful, your entire week will be consumed by a series of redundant, time-wasting meetings designed to do nothing more than communicate status. The amateur project manager becomes a reactive status monkey. They are pulled into random meetings, answering the same questions over and over. The architect does not just manage the project. They manage the information flow about the project. They know their job is to proactively push the right information to the right people at the right time. This is the push, don't pull communication blueprint. The core principle is to push information out on a regular schedule so that stakeholders never have to pull it from you in a meeting. This system has two primary deliverables. Deliverable 1, the weekly project health email. This is for stakeholders. It is a single, concise, and scannable email that goes out at the exact same time every single week. It will have 3 and only 3 sections. Section 1 is what we accomplished this week. Section 2 is what we're focusing on next week. And Section 3 is project status. This is the most important part. You will provide a simple, color-coded status, like a green circle for on track, a yellow circle for at risk, or a red circle for OFF track. You will also include a screenshot of your project's burn-down chart. This single, consistent email proactively answers 90% of your stakeholders' questions. Deliverable 2, the end-of-day Slack summary. This is for the core team. At the end of every workday, you will post a brief, bulleted summary in the project Slack channel. It will have 3 sections: today's wins, tomorrow's focus, and blockers. This creates a continuous, asynchronous communication loop that reinforces priorities and celebrates progress. Part 4, the career engine. From coordinator to leader. Case file 13, the portfolio of one project. How to manage a project and build a case study, even with no experience. You are ready to launch your career as a project manager. You have studied the frameworks, but you're caught in the classic chicken and egg trap. To get a job, you need experience, but to get experience, you need a job. The amateur gets stuck. The architect does not wait for permission to lead. They understand that a project is any undertaking with a defined goal, timeline, and set of tasks. You will architect your own experience. You will create a portfolio of one, a single real-world project that you will manage from start to finish, using the exact professional protocols you have learned. This is the personal project blueprint. Your mission is to find and execute a small but complex project in your own life. The project itself is less important than the process you use to manage it. Step 1. Choose your project. Your project must have a clear goal, a deadline, a budget, and multiple moving parts. Excellent ideas include planning a charity 5K run, building a custom PC, or launching a personal blog or YouTube channel. Step 2. Execute the full Zero to Ready protocol. You will now manage your personal project with the same professional rigor that you would a multi-million-dollar corporate initiative. You will create the documentation at every single stage. This documentation becomes your portfolio. For the initiation phase, you will write a project brief, create a stakeholder map, create a full work breakdown structure, and create a risk register. For the execution phase, you will build out your entire project plan in Asana or Jira. You will create and update a burndown chart. You will even send yourself a weekly project health email. Step 3. Create the case study. After you successfully complete your project, you will create a simple, one-page case study that tells the story of how you managed it. You will state the goal, describe the process, and show the results. For example, deliver the event on time and 10% under budget, exceeding the fundraising goal by 24%. You must also include a screenshot of your clean, beautifully organized Asana board. By architecting this portfolio of one, you have completely shattered the no experience barrier. You are a practicing project manager with a tangible, well-documented, and successfully completed project under your belt. Case File 14, the PM Resume, translating your skills into the language of business results. You're now a practicing project manager. You have the skills and a portfolio of one case study. But to land an interview, you must first get past the digital gatekeeper, the applicant tracking system, and the 6-second scan of a busy recruiter. The amateur's resume is a passive list of job duties. The architect's resume is an advertisement. It is a keyword-optimized, results-driven sales document. Its job is to communicate that you are a business problem solver who can deliver projects on time and under budget. This is the results-first PM resume blueprint. Section 1 is the header. It includes your name, contact info, and critical, clickable links to your LinkedIn profile and your portfolio website. where your case study lives. Section 2 is the professional summary. This is a 2 to 3 sentence, keyword-rich summary that immediately positions you as a professional PM. Section 3 is skills. This is a dense, scannable, keyword-optimized list for the ATS. Break it into categories: methodologies, Agile, Scrum, project management tools, Asana, Jira, and core competencies, project planning, risk management. Section 4 is projects. This is the main event. This is where you will showcase your portfolio of one, as if it were a professional job. You will use bulleted achievements, using the PAR method: problem, action, result. For example, P. led the planning of a charity 5K. A. architected a full project plan in Asana. R. delivered the event on time and 10% under budget. Section 5 is professional experience. You will reframe your past, non-PM jobs to highlight your project management skills. Instead of served as a senior analyst, say project lead for the Q3 marketing campaign launch. Section 6 is education and certifications. Here you will list your degree and, critically, any certifications you are pursuing, like Certified Associate in Project Management, CAPM, in progress. Case File 15, the PMP and CSM certifications, a strategic guide to getting the right credentials. Your resume is strong. Your portfolio of one project provides powerful, real-world proof of your skills. You are now a legitimate candidate. But in the competitive world of project management, there is one final asset you can add to your arsenal that will act as a powerful tiebreaker and a signal of professionalism: a respected industry certification. A certification is an official, third-party validation of your knowledge. It is a keyword that recruiters specifically search for. The architect makes a strategic decision, choosing the certifications that provide the highest return on investment. This is the two-part certification blueprint. For a new, self-taught project manager, there is a clear two-part path that will make you a highly competitive candidate. Part 1, the Agile credential. This is your first fast win. The certification is the Certified Scrum Master, or CSM, from the Scrum Alliance. The primary requirement is to attend a 2-day live training course. At the end of the course, there is a relatively simple online exam. You can achieve this certification in a single weekend and immediately add it to your resume. As Agile and Scrum are the dominant methodologies in the tech world, the CSM is an incredibly in-demand credential. Part 2, the traditional credential. This is the gold standard. The certification is the Project Management Professional, or PMP, from the Project Management Institute. This is the undisputed global gold standard. It is a much more rigorous undertaking. It requires you to have a certain number of hours of documented project management experience and to pass a difficult 4-hour scenario-based exam. For those with limited experience, PMI offers the Certified Associate in Project Management, or CAPM, as an excellent stepping stone. The PMP is recognized in every single industry, and studies consistently show that PMP-certified project managers earn a significantly higher salary. Your strategic roadmap is now a clear 2-stage process. Your immediate goal is to enroll in a certified Scrum Master course. Your long-term goal is to begin the journey of studying for your CAPM or PMP. By architecting this strategy, you are making yourself a bilingual candidate, fluent in both modern Agile and traditional formal project management. Case File 16, the behavioral interview, a playbook for answering "Tell me about a time" questions. You've made it to the final round. Your resume, your portfolio, and your certifications have proven that you have the hard skills for the job. The final interview is often a behavioral interview. The hiring manager will ask a series of questions that all start with a similar phrase: "Tell me about a time when." These questions are not a test of your project management knowledge. They are a test of your character and your soft skills. The interviewer is trying to get a real-world, evidence-based picture of how you handle the messy, human realities of the job: conflict, failure, and difficult stakeholders. The amateur interviewee is unprepared. They ramble and give vague, theoretical answers. The architect comes to this interview with a pre-built arsenal of stories. They know that the behavioral interview is a storytelling performance. They use a simple, powerful, and repeatable framework to structure their answers. This is the STAR method blueprint. The STAR method is the industry standard architectural framework for answering any behavioral interview question. It has 4 components. 1. S. Situation. Briefly and concisely set the scene. In my role as the project lead for the charity 5K run. 2. T. Task. Describe the specific task, challenge, or goal you were faced with. The team was tasked with securing a key permit from a city, but we discovered our primary contact had gone on an unexpected leave of absence, putting our timeline at risk. 3. A. Action. This is the heart of your story. You must describe the specific, concrete actions that you took. You must use the word I, not we. I immediately set up a meeting to brainstorm alternative contacts. I then personally took the initiative to call the main city office, and I was able to identify and build a rapport with a new contact. 4. R. Result. Conclude your story with a clear and ideally quantifiable positive result. As a result, we were able to get the permit approved just 2 days later than our original schedule, which kept the entire project on track. Before the interview, you will prepare 5 to 7 of these STAR stories for the most common behavioral questions, like tell me about a time a project failed, or tell me about a time you had a conflict with a stakeholder. Conclusion. You are the architect of results. You began this roadmap as an accidental manager, or perhaps just an aspiring one. You saw the world of project management as a chaotic landscape of stressful meetings, confusing jargon, and thankless administrative work. You may have believed that to be a great leader, you had to be a born leader. That myth has now been fully deconstructed and replaced with a powerful, engineered reality. You now know that great project management is not an innate personality trait. It is a skill. It is not a chaotic art. It is a system. You are not a taskmaster. You are an architect of results. You have deconstructed the core architectural philosophies of the modern workplace, mastering the language of Agile and the unbreakable laws of the Iron Triangle. You have filled your toolkit with the most valuable skills in the business world: the ability to architect a project for success, to run a ruthlessly efficient execution engine, and to manage the complex human dynamics of a high-performing team. Most importantly, you have moved beyond theory. You have the blueprint for building a real-world portfolio project that serves as the undeniable proof of your abilities. You have the system for architecting a resume that gets noticed for getting the right certifications and for mastering the final test of the behavioral interview. You do not just have knowledge. You have a complete, end-to-end plan for launching your new, high-impact career. The path from here is one of execution. It is the work of applying these systems to bring order to chaos, to remove obstacles for your team, and to deliver tangible, measurable results for your organization. Your ability to think systematically, to communicate with clarity, and to serve your team are not just management skills. They are your leadership superpowers. You are no longer just a participant in the work. You are the one who architects the very system that allows the work to succeed. You are the operational hub. You are the engine of delivery. You are the architect of results. Now go lead.